BC7.com and our 24/7 streaming channels. Chris Christie up in Air 7 over a pursuit in the San Gabriel Valley. California Highway Patrol trying to catch up with that Ford Raptor, a black Ford Raptor pickup truck, completely blacked out. There is a CHP helicopter, or actually it's a, is that CHP or LAPD? CHP has just taken over the pursuit from the air. LAPD's helicopter has turned around. CHP's helicopter now overhead. You'll occasionally see a night sun in the shot here as he's turned off of Rosemead onto Garvey Avenue, weaving around traffic here. You can see lightly traveled Garvey Avenue as he tries to make his way around here. This is a suspected stolen vehicle with cold plates. The plates do not match the vehicle, and he has refused to pull over, although it's unclear what the original want was. You can see him still traveling eastbound on Garvey Avenue. Unclear how many people are inside this vehicle, guys, but you can see him making a left northbound turn onto Santa Anita, possibly. We're trying to catch up with this guy. He is flying through the San Gabriel Valley, and you can see very, very dark out here. We're actually relatively low because of the ceiling out here, so we're trying to get a glimpse of him through the buildings and through the trees as he travels underneath the freeway here. Now at Amador and Santa Anita, traveling northbound on Santa Anita Avenue. That pickup truck continuing at a high rate of speed through these intersections here. Still on Santa Anita Avenue, passing Valley Boulevard. Now, there were LAPD units behind this pursuit. This all started in the San Fernando Valley. LAPD picking this up in the Foothill area, ending up on the 170 freeway, and took him all the way down to the 101, eventually into the East LA interchange, and he took the 60 freeway all the way out to the 605 in a pretty short amount of time, doing at times triple-digit speeds in excess of 100 to 110 miles per hour. And if you know anything about these pickup trucks, you know that that Ford Raptor does not get very good gas mileage. At the speeds he's traveling, he's lucky to get 10 to 12 miles per gallon, but he is now slowing down a little bit, still Santa Anita Avenue, pulling up on McGurk, slowing down slightly as he continues with his lights off, headlights and taillights blacked out. No units behind this the suspect right now, but they are continuing to track him from above. Again, that California Highway Patrol has taken over the air duties from the LAPD just moments ago. Making a quick eastbound turn there onto Hondo Parkway. Still no sign of law enforcement as they continue to track him through the San Gabriel Valley, again onto Hondo Parkway into a residential neighborhood. Coming towards us now here in El Monte as he continues up this residential street. There's that night sun trying to track him there. You can see CHP pointing straight down at him as he turns onto Tyler Avenue, continuing westbound now. He's coming towards us, yep. Yep, no worries. Yeah, no worries. Yep, all good. Pickup truck coming to a stop here, possibly a cul-de-sac. Putting it in reverse, coming really close to that parked car there. Looks like he's going to try and park it. Ooh, jumping the curb, pulling up right in front of a box truck, doing a U-turn. Again, he doesn't have much pressure on him here. There are no law enforcement units pursuing him right now, but he is completely blacked out in a dark residential neighborhood at a dead end as he tries to get out of this pickle, trying to find an outlet out of this neighborhood. Again, we are in this El Monte neighborhood around Arrowwood Street and Ansel Place. And he's still doing about double the speed limit on these residential streets, about 60 miles per hour through these houses. Now turning on to Tyler. Still waiting for any sign of law enforcement. Right now, we have not seen anybody behind him in quite some time. LAPD was able to hand this off to the California Highway Patrol as he made his way through the East LA interchange and eventually onto the 60 freeway. That's where they handed it off. CHP did pick it up, but it does look like they have canceled this pursuit on the ground, but continuing to track him from the air. Northbound 2nd Avenue, coming into Arcadia here in the next mile or so. Getting a better glimpse of him here as he starts to pick up more speed here. Still doing about double the speed limit up 2nd Avenue. Really very little traffic out here this evening. You can see not a lot of cars to contend with. He's continuing to blow through red lights, though, at a pretty fast clip without even braking, hardly any braking as he sped through that last intersection here. He's continuing northbound 2nd Avenue into Arcadia now, coming up on the 210 freeway shortly. Northbound 2nd Avenue through Huntington Drive, continuing northbound here through Arcadia. The 210 freeway is about 2 or 3 more traffic lights, but it looks like he's deciding to make a turn here, making a right turn. It's going to be eastbound Santa Clara Street. He's about to go, I believe, under the 210. He already went under. That was the 210 overpass there. Now making a northbound turn away from the freeway. still completely blacked out, and it's dark out here. You can see him still speeding up Monterey Avenue here towards Colorado Boulevard, again heading away from the freeway towards the foothills. Kind of all these turns appear to be very, very random. And it looks like the vehicle's come to a stop, making another U-turn. Now heading back eastbound Colorado Boulevard. He's going to be paralleling the 210 freeway here. You wonder if he's going to look for an opportunity to get back on the freeway and make his way eventually back towards the city. It's unclear, highly unclear where he resides or where this vehicle originates or where he is intending to go here. Really no clear destination, but we know that he picked this up in the San Fernando Valley. But right now he's heading absolutely in the opposite direction from the San Fernando Valley eastbound through the San Gabriel Valley instead. So if he's got a destination in mind, certainly it's not apparent to us. And judging from what we're hearing on the radios here, they don't seem to have a whole lot of intel on this guy either. But it also doesn't appear that they're very dedicated to this. You know, they've given it up on the ground already. They're really just tracking him from above at a safe distance to try and figure out where he ends up. But right now there is no law enforcement in place. Even if he was to come to a stop and get out of the vehicle, he would likely walk away from this without any problems. Again, LAPD abandoned this once they left the city's jurisdiction, and then California Highway Patrol just didn't like the speeds, I think, and they decided to pull back as well. They may let the local authorities know here, but LA County Sheriff likely monitoring this pursuit, but in all likelihood, they're going to track him to the end and then eventually get an address and gather whatever details they can from the helicopter before they file their paperwork here. But it doesn't look like there's any effort to bring this suspect into custody. Was that Royal Oaks and Oak? Yeah, we're in the Duarte area here. He's continuing into a very heavily wooded neighborhood, making some random right turns. Not traveling terribly fast here. Now pulling back onto Royal Oaks Drive. Actually on the wrong side of the road here, fixing for another right turn. Doesn't want to get caught up in another dead end. He's making a lot of U-turns for no apparent reason. For somebody who really doesn't know where they want to go, he seems to be second-guessing himself a lot for no reason. Again, there's nobody behind him, so there's really, it's not like he's trying to escape anybody. He's just making a lot of last-minute decisions. Obviously well aware of that helicopter overhead, and that night sun is having the effect of agitating him. It's making him think twice and trying to figure out probably where he wants to hide out, whether he gives up or whether he tries to hide the vehicle somewhere else. Who knows? But it's honestly anybody's guess what's going through his mind. Again, we don't even know how many people are inside this truck. Northbound Braywood. Another dead end, another cul-de-sac. Turning around. Yep. 3-point turn, and there he is. So he's going to try and make his way probably back out of this neighborhood. He's probably going to try and stay away from these residential blocks. I mean, he's had so much opportunity to really just lay low. And he was slowing down for a little bit until that night sun was right over him. But he's really not showing any intention of stopping here. And again, there's no law enforcement around him. Whether he realizes that or not is another story. But he obviously is aware of that helicopter. Every time that night sun is pointed in his direction, we see a little bit of a change of behavior behind the wheel. Whether he speeds up or makes a random turn or whatever the case may be. Just kind of making this up as he goes along, zigzagging his way through these foothill communities. Looks like he's in a looks like an unpaved alleyway. And that's going to put him onto Lemon Avenue at the end of this. Here he comes out onto Lemon Avenue. And a left turn westbound on Lemon Avenue. CHP's helicopter still overhead. And picking up a lot more speed now, doing about 70 miles per hour on Lemon Avenue through this quiet neighborhood. California Highway Patrol now bringing in the help of the LA County Sheriff's Department. We expect that their helicopter will probably take this over or enter the scene here shortly. And you can see this, this heavy truck not handling some of these speed bumps and bumps in the road very well. He's really bouncing around. When he's traveling at these speeds, you can bet that truck is not the most comfortable ride. Another right turn, and that looks like, is that Colorado up? Colorado Boulevard, 70 miles per hour down Colorado Boulevard. Oh. Still, yeah, nobody behind him. Nobody behind him. Well, this is quite the joyride, and I think the only thing that's going to stop this guy is his gas tank. I don't think he's, I mean, who knows how much gas he started with, but I don't see him really, I don't know if he's under the influence or if he's just out on Green Avenue. Copy that. California Highway Patrol still applying pressure on this suspect. The night sun right through those trees here. I'm not sure if the vehicle's come to a stop, or is he doing another U-turn? Backing up into a driveway and yet another U-turn. Is he? Okay, I got you. I see what you're saying. Yep. He's going into the mountains now. Northbound Alta Vista Avenue. So Hillcrest ended there at Alta Vista Avenue, making a northbound turn, a right turn. That's going to send him further up into the mountains and away from our purview here. Again, there's a very low cloud ceiling here this evening. A lot of moisture in the air, very difficult to see. The California Highway Patrol helicopter is hovering right over him at probably no more than 400 feet, trying to get that night sun through the trees and keep an eye on this suspect. Very difficult work, but they are doing their level best to try and keep some kind of a visual on him. And basically doing what we're doing up here. We're staying closer to the 210 freeway where it is much safer, but you can see he's kind of traversing his way through these very upscale foothill communities right now on Alta Vista Avenue at Scenic Drive. Air 7 News Desk. She's talking to him. Is he in front or behind? My window or her window? Copy. Once again, if you're just joining us on abc7.com and our 24/7 streaming channels, Chris Christie up in Air 7 as we continue to track the stolen black Ford Raptor, refusing to pull over for the LAPD. Eventually, they handed it off to the California Highway Patrol along the 60 freeway in the San Gabriel Valley, all the way out to El Monte, where finally California Highway Patrol gave this pursuit up. They are now relying on that helicopter overhead to track his movements and probably eventually catch up with this suspect. Again, it is believed to be a stolen vehicle. He's driving very recklessly with his lights blacked out, continuing to blow through red lights and stop signs, and really showing no regard for any of the traffic rules here. Fortunately, this evening we have not seen much in the way of car traffic, not a whole lot of pedestrian traffic in these residential neighborhoods at this time of the night, especially as he makes his way back towards the 210 freeway after getting lost up in the foothills near Bradbury in the Duarte area. He's kind of been bouncing around up here and traversing Colorado Boulevard, now heading southbound on Myrtle Avenue at Montana Street. Again, heading back towards the 210 freeway, where he will have the opportunity to get on the freeway at some point here. Actually, it looks like he just bypassed that opportunity. So he went under the 210 and is now continuing southbound Myrtle. Again, this all started in LAPD's Foothill division up in the San Fernando Valley on surface streets as he crosses over the tracks here, making a left turn onto Railroad Avenue, or Duarte, Duarte Road. Nope. FM1. Booth, you up? Hey, Booth, I've got you. Copy that. A Ford Raptor. Here we go. Hospital. Ooh, stuck at the train tracks.
Has run afoul at this point of a train, a railroad crossing. Looks like a metro train. Let's get more from Chris Christie in Air 7. Chris.
Hey there, Mark. This guy's going on a real joyride, and really for no particular reason. Right now, there is no law enforcement on this suspect. However, it is believed to be a cold-plated vehicle that was in pursuit by the LAPD out of their Foothill division. He led them on a high-speed chase through the San Fernando Valley, down the 170 freeway, over to the 101, through the Cahuenga Pass into Hollywood, down to the East LA interchange, and eventually all the way out to El Monte, where LAPD handed the pursuit off to California Highway Patrol, and eventually CHP just decided to let it go. He was traveling way too fast with his lights blacked out. You could see his headlights and his taillights completely dark. We don't know how many people are inside this vehicle, but again, it's a cold-plated Ford Raptor, so that plate does not match the truck, and so they believe it's probably a stolen vehicle, and they decided, let's just call in the airship. They handed it off to the CHP airship, and they have been tracking him ever since. Once in a while, you will see that night sun shine the light on him, but every time they shine that night sun on this suspect, it seems to have the effect of agitating him even more and driving more dangerously. He's driving much safer when he doesn't have any pressure on him. There you see a glimmer of that night sun as he parallels the 210 freeway on Duarte Road. He's been bouncing around these foothill communities between Monrovia, Duarte, Bradbury, Arcadia, really with no clear destination in mind, just kind of making this up as he goes along, and every once in a while, for good measure, he will pull a random U-turn in the middle of the street. We have seen a number of those, such as the one that you saw as we came on the air at the metro tracks. He had every opportunity to just wait that train out, and look at this. For the first time in a half hour, we now have a local municipality about to engage with him once again, making the U-turn and now trying to catch up with this guy underneath the 210 freeway. Mark, he is now back in pursuit by one of these local agencies out here. I don't know which police department that is, but he had his lights and sirens blaring as this guy sped towards the 210, under the 210 freeway, and now we'll see if backup is on the way. But now they have a local jurisdiction pursuing this suspect, and you see just how low that CHP, is it CHP or LAPD? No, LAPD has now taken this over again from the air. So that LAPD air support helicopter right over this suspect, no more than a couple hundred feet above him, as we continue to navigate a relatively low cloud layer here this evening. A lot of moisture in the air, very crowded airspace up here as he continues now northbound on Lemon Avenue, or California Avenue, I should say.
All right, and he is proceeding now, and is that ground unit still behind him, or has it backed off? The one that he passed
Pull
by.
back a little bit. I don't want to lose him, Robbie, but if you could tell, it looks like he's still back there, but he's about a quarter mile back, not exactly doing the same speeds as the suspect, who's now kind of weaving his way through here, maybe looking for an opportunity. Now, I've got to tell you, Mark, he's had every opportunity tonight to just dump this car if it's not his, hide out in a parking garage, or just park the car. He would have gotten away with this by now. Nobody would have bothered him, but he's continuing on this joyride, just weaving his way through these communities, and he has not managed to lose the attention of the airships overhead. Again, LAPD, California Highway Patrol, and even the LA County Sheriff's Department have been monitoring this pursuit and tracking this guy all the way up into the foothills here. Now he's making his way back through another quiet neighborhood here where there's going to be even more dead ends, and we've already seen him pull into a number of cul-de-sacs, and you know, he just makes the U-turn and continues the ride, and it really, you don't know whether he's under the influence or what's motivating this guy, but again, it's certainly not any pressure coming from law enforcement, because there is nobody around him except for now this new local agency with 2 patrol cars trying to catch up with him.
And again, this is a vehicle that has cold plates, and that's police jargon for plates that don't match the vehicle. Plates that have been lifted from another car or vehicle and that have been placed on this truck, and which arouses, of course, immediate suspicion. That I believe in itself is a criminal act, and it can be used to try to conceal other criminal acts. So they want to get this. It could be a stolen vehicle, could be a stolen truck. Now they're trying to catch. Where'd he go? There he goes. Now, interesting, the range on this thing. You talked earlier before we came on the air about how the only limit to this may be his range, how much gas he has. Well, it's got a 36-gallon fuel tank, and it can go between 500 to 650 miles on a full tank of gas. if so, this could be a very long pursuit if that's the only way that he ends up giving up by running out of gas. But what you've been noticing is that he goes into these dead ends, like as you see in the video on the right from earlier, in the upper San Gabriel Valley. He got kind of trapped in a residential neighborhood, had to turn around. Not an easy thing. It's a big truck. Takes up a lot of space, hard to do. So he's made some of those maneuvers throughout this process and rammed through a fence, as you see there, going up that alley. That's video from about 15 minutes ago. Again, that was in the San Gabriel Valley. He's kind of been sticking to this area, but you see the speeds that he's on, that he's going now on this main street. This is Foothill Boulevard, is that correct?
Yeah, Foothill Boulevard, now 3 units behind him, including an unmarked vehicle in the middle, and now that is provoking him to really push the pedal to the metal here, doing speeds in excess of 70 miles per hour down Foothill Boulevard, blowing through red lights, closer to 90 miles per hour as he tries to create a little bit of distance and exit this jurisdiction. He picked the wrong town, and now he's trying to just kind of get away and fly into the night here. Again, you've got 3 units behind him, but they're going to have to pull back, especially at these speeds. You can see they've already fallen back a little bit. And that's been a trend. The speeds have been extreme at times, Mark, which is going to affect his gas mileage. I mean, at times, as he was making his way out to the San Gabriel Valley on the 60 freeway, he was doing in excess of 115 miles per hour. When we first caught wind of this pursuit, he was on the 170, and by the time we caught up with him, he was already in El Monte. So he traveled quite a bit of distance in a very short amount of time, and that is going to bleed a lot of fuel efficiency out of that probably best case scenario V6, a probably Eco V6 model. As you mentioned, 10 to 12 miles per hour at the very most, doing the speeds and just gassing it the way he has, using up a lot of horsepower and just trying to again create distance between him and now this new package of pursuit units. I just don't know the agency involved. It might have been Duarte, it might have been somebody else, but he is now out of that jurisdiction. I don't know, it looks like they might have pulled back as well. He is now continuing westbound Foothill Boulevard.
Westbound Foothill Boulevard. It seems like he slowed down just a little bit, which is good news. You don't want, whenever there's a traffic light here, the potential for cross traffic, of course, is there. He has blown through, like this red light he's just done right here. He's blown through quite a few of those just since we've been on the air. And the potential for a collision, it would be catastrophic for the other vehicle. This is a big, heavy pickup truck, and you certainly don't want him colliding with another vehicle. So that is something that's part of the calculus as officers decide. A sergeant or someone of rank will decide whether to continue the pursuit or whether to back off or how to continue with this. As far as we know, it's a possible stolen vehicle. We don't know for sure, but it has the wrong license plates on it, which leads us to believe, and law enforcement to believe, that it may have in fact been stolen. Unknown number of people on board this Ford Raptor that is now being pursued, we believe, by the agency that whose city he just drove through in the upper San Gabriel Valley. The good thing here, as you're seeing, the streets pretty much deserted. That's good news. The fewer people that are out, the less likelihood of a collision. And we'll continue
and he is
to see.
Now,
go ahead.
He is now in Pasadena, so it's a larger jurisdiction with more resources, traveling through more of these red lights, just blowing right through them. But will he get the attention of Pasadena PD? That's what I'm wondering. They also have their own airship on standby as well. So if they decide to get involved here, we may very well see them light him up here. But it almost reminds me of if our viewers have ever played Need for Speed, where you're just kind of traveling on this endless joyride through various jurisdictions, and one minute you're in hot pursuit, and the next minute things cool down, and you just enjoy the joyride. He's kind of been doing that all night long. You'll see flashing lights behind him one minute, the next minute he's just off into the night. The one thing that's been pretty consistent is the airship overhead. Whether they light him up or whether they've just been tracking him, the airship has been monitoring his movements, and that seems to be the consensus. Let the airship do the work and not put additional lives in danger at the speeds he's been traveling at, especially considering that his lights are off. The vehicle is blacked out, no headlights, no tail lights. If he continues blowing through those red lights, somebody's going to get killed. In fact, he has barely even been braking as he approaches these major intersections. And so it's been really, heart-stopping at times, except the lucky thing is that there really has not been much traffic this evening. It's been he's chosen the quietest roads in each and every town he's traveled through here. And again, the airship has really been doing most of the work. But as you can see in this shot right here, it is a very hazy, moist night that is proving to be a little bit of a challenge, and it would not surprise me if even the airship eventually pulls off here. I'm almost surprised that they've been following him as long as they have. There have been 3 different airships, Mark, that have rotated out between LAPD, California Highway Patrol. At one point, the Sheriff's Department was on the way out here, but I think the last time we saw that night sun on him, it was indeed a new LAPD airship trying to track his movements. And as I mentioned, Pasadena most likely monitoring this as well as he comes up on the freeway here. We are in a holding pattern ourselves because it is difficult, very difficult, to see more than 100 or a couple hundred feet in front of us. So that's going to prove to be very difficult for law enforcement down below. Busy air traffic up here with a lot of helicopters trying to find this guy. And now it looks like for the time being, you can see we're quite a distance here, and it looks like he may be it may be his lucky night, although that airship still seems to be tracking something.
Yeah, we are limited, of course, by visibility, and if it gets a little foggy, a little hazy up there, especially at night, safety is, of course, the main concern here for everyone. And so we may not be able to continue with this. And the question then becomes what the parameters are for that law enforcement helicopter. We believe it's LAPD, not sure if it still is. We did see one earlier that is up above. And yeah, there he is. This is still Pasadena.
It looks like still Pasadena, northbound Altadena Drive. And it does sound like the airship is going to give it up. So the airship is now pulling out. He is driving away, and you can see just how pitch black it is down there. If we even catch a glimpse, it'll be through some of these trees here. But for the most part, it looks like I think he's going to get away with this remark.
All right. Well, Chris Christie in Air 7. We're going to keep an eye on this, and if we re-engage, we will certainly come back to you. But it appears he has disappeared into the night, and as you said, it may have been his lucky day. We will see. Moving on to other news, of course, the attack in Iran, day 5 of the war with Iran and the deadly conflict now spreading thousands of miles.
I'm good. You?